Hey guys, welcome to my kitchen. Another big exciting day in my kitchen. This is what we're doing. We're hopping on an airplane. We're gonna land in Rome. Then we're gonna take another plane and we're gonna go to Sicily. And then we're gonna have to probably take a boat and we're gonna go to an island just west of Sicily called Pantelleria. And there they make this delicious salad. Summer, Mediterranean Sea, the ocean, the seafood. You're sitting there with the sunset. And you're just having a wonderful day with your family. And this salad is famous from that region. In fact, it comes from that island, and it's actually called Pantesca from the name of the island, Pantelleria. Now, what's special about this area, this region in the salad, are capers. So one of the main ingredients of this salad is going to be a handful of capers. So you're probably dealing with about a half of a cup of capers drained, and that'll be one of our ingredients. In fact, some of the most famous, well-known floral type capers come right from that region. In fact, that's what a caper is. It's a non-bloomed flower from a specific plant. They're delicious. So we're gonna start off with our ingredients. Like I said, we're gonna go with 1/2 cup of capers. In the recipe, you know, with the old Sicilian nonas, they're gonna say a handful of capers. You wanna drain them and rinse them. I wouldn't soak them because I want that vinegar, I want that salty flavor to add to the flavor of our salad. Number 2, we're gonna need something real special for that region. We're gonna do about 1.5 cups of olives. Now you can use really any kind of olives. You can use pitted, non-pitted. If you go to old rustic Italy, your olives are never pitted. I just want to warn you. So they're going to take it from the tree. So these are Tuscan olives. This is, I believe, an Old Glory variety. And these olives are used to make olive oil, but they're also delicious to eat after they're cured with salt. So 1.5 cups of olives. You can use pitted, you can use any variety you want. Certainly rinse them off. A couple other really important ingredients. We're gonna need cherry tomatoes. So most commonly this salad is actually made in cherry tomatoes. So what do I have here? I have probably 20 cherry tomatoes. You're gonna want a medium-sized red onion. Red onion is classic for this recipe. So you wanna use that. It's color, it's vibrant, it says life, it says dolce vita. It just gives you exactly what you want. Another critical and really interesting ingredient for this recipe are potatoes. So in this case, you're gonna use about 1 really large potato, or maybe 2 medium-sized potatoes. You're gonna boil them and cut them. What I like to do, I love to get these small potatoes. So you got certain varieties that are smaller. And why? Because the skin is really thin, so I don't need to peel these. And what do I have here? I have about 1 pound, maybe about 1.5 pounds of potatoes. Next, we're gonna add our flavor. We're gonna add our herbs and our salt and our pepper, right? So we're gonna use about 1/4 teaspoon of thyme. And I've got dried herb here. Now, dried herbs many times are better in many cases. So in this case, I think it's better for our dressing to use a dried herb. Again, dry herbs are concentrated, so use half the amount of dried. In this case, I'm using 1/2 teaspoon of dried thyme. I'm also gonna use some dried oregano. Oregano is much more earthy, where thyme is earthy and it's got a little bit of a grass feel to it. They're so delicious. Now, I do wanna go with a fresh herb, and nothing could beat basil, right? Oh. So you go, what an aromatic herb. It is one of my favorites. You know, you think of caprese salad, you think of so many other delicious recipes with different types of pasta and pesto. But in this case, we're gonna go with a fresh basil. We're gonna add some, mix it in the salad, then we're gonna use that as like a finished garnish for the top. What salad is complete in Italy without a little lemon? So I've got 1/2 of a lemon that I'm gonna use, and I'm gonna use the juice, and I'm gonna use a little bit of the rind. I think a lot of times overlooked that zest of a lemon. It's filled with the delicate oils, and it gives you a much stronger aroma, a perfume, as they say, of the lemon than the lemon juice, and it's just delicious. So the zest of the lemon will add just something delicious to the salad. We're always gonna wanna add to the flavor, let the flavors actually enhance themselves. That's what salt does. So we're gonna add some flaky Sicilian sea salt. I thought that would be appropriate, seeing that this recipe is actually from Sicily. And what are we gonna use? We're gonna use a sprinkle, maybe anywhere from 1/4 to a fat 1/4 teaspoon of salt. When we finish and season the salad, we're gonna use some fresh ground pepper. Nothing's better, guys, than a really good fresh ground pepper. The minute you grind pepper, and I see a lot of people grind it, and they use the pepper grinds, but it dries out, and you really are missing a significant component of the flavor of pepper those oils and that aroma. Next, we're going to need some vinegar. So a lot of times they'll use like a wine vinegar. I'm a huge fan of the balsamic. Now, this is not what we would call the antiqua, the vecchia, the aged, the really expensive balsamic. This is going to be the less expensive version of it, but we're certainly going to want to add a few tablespoons of that, and I'll show you exactly why and where to put that. Last, we're going to need olive oil. Now, we're going to want extra virgin Italian. We're going to certainly want something from Puglia, because the best extra virgin olive oil, I think, in the world, and I know I'm a little biased, certainly comes from Puglia, Italy. So anybody new to our channel, I certainly want to give a huge shout out to anybody that's a subscriber of our family here at Cooking Italian with Joe, so I certainly encourage you to subscribe. But if you're new to our channel, this is the first time for you. We own a farm in Italy. We actually make and co-op with a whole group of farms to bring you some of the best extra virgin olive oil in the world. I have two boys, Vito and Joe, so I named the company after them. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, geez, I'd like to get some, and I'd be thinking I'd want to get some if I were you too. So if you hit the link above or below, go to my Facebook page or my webpage, Cooking Italian with Joe. Just click by it now, grab yourself a few bottles. We'll drop ship it right to your front doorstep. And I was thinking of it as taking a trip to Italy right in a bottle. So, all right, so sponsorship is done. Let's get cooking. Let's start having some fun. First thing we want to do is prep our potatoes and get them cooking while we prep everything else. Guys, my potatoes have been washed. I want a bite-sized shape of my potato, so think of that when you're cutting its size. So that's a little bit big right there. So this is where we're gonna go with it. I like that shape and size of it. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut them just like that. These will cook down really fast because I've already cut them. And we're gonna boil these down to where they're tender. Guys, our potatoes are all cut up, ready to go. I got my water boiling. I'm gonna take a good heavy tablespoon of salt, season that water, beautiful. And now I'm gonna take all my potatoes, put them right in the water. Guys, I wanna give this a really good stir with the salt and seasoning and the potatoes and the starches. I don't want anything sticking together. And I'm gonna give this a couple of stirs as she's coming to a boil. We should be about 10 to 15 minutes on boil to get those tender. Guys, now it's time to cut up our onion. So I'm gonna cut my onion right in half. Now what I'm gonna do is cut this in half. And then what I wanna do is I wanna cut this so I get those beautiful rings of the onion. That's very traditional with a salad. Guys, remember we're going for bite-sized pieces here. So we don't want anything huge, and just take a nice sharp knife, you're gonna cut right through it. And that's what you're looking for, just a little bit thicker than the thickness of the blade of your knife would be a good measurement, a good gauge. And we're gonna go ahead and cut all these right up. Beautiful, look at that. And guys, there's a little trick you can do to help with the onion, because a lot of times you put a lot of onion in there, as much as you love it, boy, sometimes it can be really strong. The trick you can do, which works out great, is we're gonna cook it with acid. In this case, we're going to use the vinegar. So that's why we wanted the vinegar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put all my onion here in my bowl. And guys, what I want to do really quickly is I want to separate all those rings. So it'll take you just a minute or two. Play a little Sinatra, maybe a little Prosecco being poured off to the side. Now my onions are all separated, so I'm going to take that balsamic vinegar, and again, I love that. It adds a little extra sweetness. And I'm just going to put a few tablespoons over the top of these. And then I'm going to stir them, or we're going to leave them in here for about 30 minutes. What's happening here, guys, is just a little chemistry. The acetic acid from the vinegar will actually cook down and soften the bite of the onion. So they just come out delicious. I'm going to go ahead and set these aside and let them marinate for about 30 minutes. Now let's check on our potatoes. So I'm just going to bring them up in a little hand strainer here. Let me take a look, see how they're doing. Oh, see how nice and tender they are? Let me just check a couple to make sure everybody's okay from the outside and inside. Okay guys, the potatoes are done. So a couple of tips. One, obviously shut the heat off. Two, we don't want them to keep cooking, and we're gonna cool the salad. Obviously it's a summer salad, so we don't want to serve the potatoes hot. So what I want to do is I want to bring them over, drain the hot water out gently because I don't want to break apart the potatoes. And then I want to gently put some cool water in there, let them soak once or twice with refreshing the water so I can get them nice and cold and chilled for when it's time to eat the salad. A couple other tips that make this come out delicious. I'll tell you what, I'd love for you to be part of the Cooking Italian with Joe family. In order to do that, you hit that subscribe button right there. When you click that, you know, recipes, trips, blogging with Borio, anything going on with Cooking Italian with Joe, it'll come right to your notification box when you hit that notification bell. And you guys give me a thumbs up, which helps us share our recipes and certainly our videos with other people. And like I tell you guys all the time, hey, it makes you part of the family. You know what I mean? Hey, second thing, you probably already grabbed it. Grab yourself a couple of bottles of olive oil. I can hear it being shipped right now. Okay, we're good to go. All right, so what do you say? Let's strain the potatoes, cool them down, and let's put our salad together. Last thing I need to do here to prep is cut our tomatoes. So real simple, guys, you're just gonna cut them right in half. That's all we're looking for, just like that. Now, just a quick tip, guys, you don't wanna add salt to tomatoes until you're ready to serve it, because when you add salt to the tomatoes, they're gonna release a lot of water. Tomatoes are ready to go. Now, guys, I'm gonna take my dish, and what I wanna do here is I don't wanna rinse off the onion because I want that vinegar on them, but I don't want all that vinegar juice. So what I'm gonna do now is just slowly drain them off with a fork and then set them right inside my bowl. Next, guys, I'm gonna take my zest of the lemon, and I'm gonna go ahead and just zest this. Oh, you can get the aroma of the lemon. Holy mackerel, that is good. Beautiful. So I'm gonna take the juice of this lemon. Perfect. And guys, give this a nice gentle stir because we're starting our dressing right now. Next, I'm gonna take my oregano and I'm gonna take my thyme. Don't rush this, guys. Just give it a nice, slow, steady stir. Next, guys, I wanna add my capers. I'm gonna put my delicious Tuscan olives. Give it a nice stir again. Next, I'm gonna grab some of my basil leaves. In Italy, Old Tuscany, Sicily, they're just gonna tear these. They're not gonna cut them. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do exactly what they did, and then you can feel the oils come out in your fingers as you tear it. I'm gonna give this a nice stir again. Next, guys, I'm gonna add a little olive oil. So I'm gonna put some of our Vito and Joe's in the salad dressing, and we're looking at about 2 to 3 tablespoons. And now we've really got in here our salad dressing. So just a nice easy stir. Next, guys, we're gonna add our potatoes. I'm gonna swap out my fork now for my salad hands. And again, guys, be really gentle with your potatoes. I'm gonna add a little salt. Now, I only want a heavy pinch of salt because I've already got salt in my capers. I've got the potatoes where the water's been salted, and I've got my olives that were salted. So I'm gonna go ahead and put like I said, a heavy pinch of salt. And I definitely wanna go heavy on my pepper. In this case, I'm gonna go a good half of a teaspoon. Now I'm gonna go really gentle with my olive hands. I'm gonna add my tomatoes. Oh, look at how beautiful that looks. Do a nice stir. I'm gonna do another drizzle of olive oil just to finish it off. Now, guys, I wanna put some fresh basil leaves on the top as a garnish. Do you feel like you're in Sicily? Guys, the aroma, first off, absolutely fantastic. Secondly, my favorite time, let's have a little taste. I've got my olive wood hands here. I'm gonna go ahead and put some in a dish. So you definitely want that perfect bite. I want the basil, I want a tomato, I want a potato. Gotta have a couple onions, gotta have some capers. I think there it is right there. There's the perfect bite. You guys ready to join me? I wish I could do it, guys. Taste-o-vision, smell-o-vision, cooking Italian with Joe, share-a-vision. The aroma, so good. You're getting the aroma immediately of the basil, and then a little bit of the vinegar, which is not a lot at all. And then what's nice is you get the creamy starch of the potato. The onions are great. They're not sharp. They give you a nice backdrop of onion flavor, but they're not overpowering to the dish, which is so key. That little trick with the vinegar. You got the capers, the tomatoes, and what makes this, again, is you have so many delicious, bright flavors, whether it's the vinegar, whether it's the tomato, whether it's the onion, whether it's the caper, you know, and the herbs, the oregano, the thyme. I finished with a couple of those olives. Oh, that's good. Guys, thanks so much for joining me, taking a trip to Sicily, Italy today. Wasn't that fun? What a delicious recipe. Certainly something you can use regularly throughout the summers. Hopefully it becomes a main staple and a tradition in your household. Remember, be part of that Cooking Italian with Joe family. Hit the subscribe button. Give me a like for sure, and definitely a notification bell. That way, anything we got going on in the family at Cooking Italian with Joe, it'll come right to your notification box. Always with a closing reminder, guys, go to my Facebook page or my webpage, Cooking Italian with Joe. Grab yourself a few bottles of Vito and Joe's extra virgin Italian olive oil. Certainly taking a trip to Italy right in a bottle. And last but not least, always my most important tip, and the main reason that we do these videos, is a couple of times a month, get around the table with your family, people that you love. Tell stories, make things, burn things, doesn't matter. You know what? Most importantly, celebrate your heritage. And even more importantly than that, guys, set some traditions with your family and your loved ones. They're gonna last you a lifetime. I know they did for me. Hey guys, from my kitchen to yours, until next week, mwah, buon appetito.